Wow, thank you, Jack. Thank you. I love to come to that place where all the striving is ended, all the tests. We have this mistaken idea that life is a test. No, I'm tired of taking tests. I'm tired of playing games. The game's over. The race is over. All of this has been something I've imposed upon myself by my own idea of sacrifice, my own idea of guilt, and now I must sacrifice to atone for my mistakes. And it's not true. Your mistakes never affected the perfection of God. And so all we're really called to do is step back into the perfection in which we were created. That's all. And in this particular manifestation that we call our life, it doesn't matter what anyone says about you or what anyone does to you. That does not define you. It is your response to it that defines you. And many of you know we had a break-in. Somebody broke in the basement door during the week. Yeah, and they went into Liz's office and completely ransacked it. And I walked into Liz's office in the morning and I said, "It looks normal to me." Your office always looks like that. But anyway, they took the collection and they got a credit card and, a couple of other things. And yes, it was very sad and devastating for a moment, that someone would do that when we're actively giving money to the community every month. We're writing checks, for the organizations that will help you. Just got to call, come on in, I'll give you the number. We'll get you the help you need. So it was quite devastating for a moment. And it might be that way for you guys, that we were disrespected in that way when we're trying to do so much good in the community. But there's a blessing there for us. There's a lot of blessings. There's a lot of miracles in each and every situation. I don't know if any of you remember Zig Ziglar. He's one of the fathers of motivational speaking. He's written over 30 books on how to be successful and happy. And he's an amazing speaker. And he said this: it's not the situation, but whether we react, which is generally negative, or respond to the situation. And that's what's important. Because when we're responding, we're thinking deeply about it, and we're responding generally in a positive, loving way, because that's our inherent nature. When we're reacting, it's out of survival. It's your amygdalas being hijacked, and you're in fight or flight, and you want to defend yourself, and it's all very intense, and you gotta wait a moment. Let all that energy be used in a positive way. If any of you remember Norman Vincent Peale, he's like the father of positive thinking. He's one of the people who, people in Unity, long ago, before my time, really looked to for the ways of thinking positively. And he said, in every difficult situation, there is potential value. Believe this and then look for it. And that's what I intend to do. That's what I hope we intend to do in this situation, is look for the potential value and follow that path. There's a lot of value here in terms of the energy that's generating within me, and I hope within you, to increase our efforts to serve the community, to increase our efforts to be loving, forgiving, and seeing the divinity within each and every person, no matter where they find themselves, without judgment, as Lily said in her meditation. We had our board retreat last week. And I'm so grateful that Carolyn decided to join the board. Kathleen had to step off for medical reasons. And when we were going around the circle, we do a process where we say what we think we can bring to the group. And Carolyn said she's met thousands of people when she was at Champ Homes. And she had to interview them. And they were in all kinds of situations in their lives which were not favorable. They needed help. And she had to turn some of them away. And that is an amazing process. It's a difficult process because you're seeing the Christ and the holiness within that person. And in that moment, you can't help them. But you know that Spirit will help them. You know that their soul is going to find the right path. So you love and forgive them, but you may not be able to help them. And that's the feeling I had this week, Carolyn. I felt helpless because I may not be able to keep these people from being in jail. If they keep doing that stuff. Of course, forgiveness. Of course, see the Christ in them. But if you don't see it in yourself and you keep attacking yourself, you're creating your own reality. You're creating your own situation and you're responsible for it. And that's what we teach. And we teach to the nth degree in A Course in Miracles, that you're responsible for everything you see, that every experience you have, you are making the decision that's bringing all the forces of the universe together to make that happen for you. And you can change your mind. The other thing in the Course in Miracles is just amazing. It says, choose again. Each moment you can choose again. Each moment you can choose God. Each moment you can choose your own holiness, your own divinity. Each moment you can choose the oneness that we share. Each moment you can choose to accept the fact the universe is supporting you. That you are enough. You can let go of your past completely and be who God created you to be. Don't let your past define you. So, as Norman Vincent Peale said, there is potential value here. And I think the greatest potential value here is to see that we are unlimited in our potential. When I was a little boy, 10 or 11 years old, my dad took me in his room and he showed me a book. It was the only book he ever read. It was very interesting because he's a very quiet guy. But he pulled out this book, and it was by Dale Carnegie. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because he was a very quiet and shy person, but he was the grocery manager at a Stop and Shop, and he had to deal with people all day long. And so he was always very compassionate, open. He listened well. And I learned that day that he got a lot of his tips from that book, from Norman Vincent Peale. And I thought, how funny is that? You need a book to know how to win friends and influence people, because it comes naturally, to the other side of our family. They're Portuguese, and there's some Portuguese over here. Yeah. In the Latino families, man, you're winning friends all the time. You got too many friends. Your family is the whole world. But Dale Carnegie in that book. Okay, my dad actually had 3 books that he read. But the first one was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then it was 12 Steps and 12 Traditions and the Big Book. Those are the only books I ever saw him read. Otherwise, it was the newspaper. There's some 12-steppers here. So Dale Carnegie wrote in that book, it isn't what you have, or who you are, or where you are, or what you are doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about it. 1936, he wrote that book. It's still true today. The Fillmores wrote their stuff in 1886. I mean, it's amazing that this has been around for a long time. And I had no idea. It just dawned on me last night. My dad was actually practicing unity principles. I had no idea. So whenever we find ourselves blaming society, blaming the government, blaming the devil, even blaming God for what's happening to us, we're giving away our power. We're not holding to the principle. It's what we think about it that determines our experience. So perhaps it's time to reclaim our inherent power by the act of taking responsibility for our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences, and our life. One of the most empowering questions you can ask yourself is, who's in charge of my life? When you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, tell yourself, God in you is in charge of your life. You try to put the ego in charge of your life, and therefore you identify with something that's separate, with something that's small, with something that's vulnerable, that can be a victim. We had a series of amazing lessons this week in A Course in Miracles. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I invented the world I see. There's another way of looking at the world. I can see peace instead of this. And how about these? My two favorite. God is in everything I see. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. Now I'm seeing with my inherent mind of God. That's your true mind. So for many of us, our first response might be, who's in charge of your life? You might say, oh, God's in charge of my life. I let go and I let God. I just let it happen. But that's not very empowering. You might say, I've given my life to God, to my higher power, to spirit, to whatever you call the divine. I'm doing what God wants me to do. But I'm going to challenge you to turn that around. Spirit has given life to you. The unlimited resources of the universe are yours. The ever-present substance of divine mind is in you. It's available to you at every moment of every day, at all times. The question should be, what am I doing with the life Spirit has given me? I've been given life. Now what am I doing with it? All power has been given you in heaven and earth. This is one of Jesus' famous revelations. But he wasn't speaking it as an individual ego, that all power has been given me, not to any of you guys. Just me. I'm the CEO of earth. I'm giving myself a bonus this month. It's not like that. That's not power. I won't go into that, but that's a particular form of insanity that has gripped the world since the beginning of time, is that we want power over people, over circumstances, and over things, when in fact all the universe is supporting us, and we have been given all power in heaven and earth to do with what we please, what we want. What are we doing with it? That's the question. What am I doing with the life that Spirit gave me? No matter how much experience I have in this life, no matter how much knowledge I gain, no matter how many skills I master, how many places I travel to, or how many people I meet, there's always more. So much more, always. There's much more. No matter what depths or heights of consciousness that I can attain, or expressions of healing and wholeness that I can find, I know there's much more. Always. Don't ever stop discovering what God is doing through you, in you, and as you. Unity has a famous author, Eric Butterworth. Any of you familiar with Eric Butterworth? And he wrote something incredibly eye-opening in his famous book, Discover the Power Within You. And it is this that he wrote: we are human in expression, but we are divine in creation. And we are unlimited in potentiality. We are unlimited. Our inherent nature is divine. The expression is human because we find ourselves in the human experience. But the potential as a human being is absolutely limitless because we can access and action the divine. And we do. I see you doing it. But there's always much more. There's always more. That more comes to me every time I let go, every time I forgive another, every time I step into the fullness of who I am in this moment, I'm propelled into the next moment to be more. Every time I don't think there's one more thing I can handle, I'll get an email about somebody who has cancer. I'll get another person call me to say, this person is having a challenge this week. And when the week is full of those challenges, the universe usually sends me another one. And what happens is all of that gets resolved and harmonized and seen in a different way because something clicks in my consciousness that says, there's another way of looking at this. There's another way of looking at this. That's the way I want to discover. If I don't say what it is, if I don't limit it, she's going to die. That's bad. This is creating a crisis. If I don't give it all of that meaning and definition in my mind, I can accept what's true. I can accept what Norman Vincent Peale called the potential value. And I can look for that ever deeper. And that gives me energy to flow with the fulfillment of that potential. See, when it's just potential, it's calling on you to fulfill it, to use it, to take that potential and put it into action. Jack, I want to thank you and Oriana for the song you're about to sing. Because I've been talking to him for a couple of weeks now about doing this song. And it seemed like when I let go, I said, okay, I'm dealing with all this. Jack says, okay, you're dealing with enough. I'll take care of the music. He surprised me with this song. And it's a song from Stow Good. I'm gonna a little bit of a spoiler alert here. It's a song, they didn't actually sing it last time they were here, but they gave us CDs, and I put it on in my office, and I was listening to this song, and I said, wow, we've got to do this song. And this is the perfect week for it to happen. I've said 1,000 times, don't believe everything you think. And you laugh because you know it's true. And you laugh because you thought a lot of things were true and they turned out not to be. Or you turned out that there's a whole lot more going on than the little place you were looking at. There's a whole big picture that you didn't see. And part of the picture for me this week is this song typifies exactly what I'm feeling. Is that in every situation, God is trying to work through us. God is trying to show up as us. God is trying to shine that light in the world through you. And that's the amazing thing, is that I don't know how that's going to happen, but I can just be myself. I can be authentic. I can do what my heart is calling me to do. I can follow my bliss, as we used to say. And I can do right, and I can do good, and I can stand up for what is right and good in the world. And I know that in doing that, something will guide me. Something will always come from within to guide me. You might be limiting yourself if you're saying, I can't do it. If only this would happen. If only they would just do this. If only this could change. Blah, 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 blah. If only, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yeah, but. My dad used to also say, don't give me no yabbits. Who are you, Yabbit and Costello? Don't shoot on me. You know, I didn't know he was getting this from Norman Vincent Peale. He was a lot smarter than I gave him credit for. So, I'm making false associations in my mind all the time, and that's a reaction, and that's negativity. You know, according to Zig Ziglar and Norman Vincent Peale and Dale Carnegie, that responding takes consciousness. Responding to a situation takes courage. Responding takes love. It takes compassion. Responding takes being there, being present, showing up. And in that moment, in that fearful moment where you show up, you're going to have to show up as God. You're going to have to, because there's no other choice. Otherwise, I'm going to be too afraid to face what I believe to be the evils of this world, because I'm going to make them real, and they are going to be fearful. And remember that it is not what anyone says or does to you, says about you or does to you, that defines you. It's how you respond. And when we are reacting, in Unity we call this error thinking. The correction of error is so easy. It's affirming the truth. I'm a spiritual being. I'm blessed with the power of all creation. And I live in a universe of unlimited possibilities. Keep affirming that each and every day. Keep affirming the truth. You know, those lessons that we read each week in A Course in Miracles are very empowering. If we can remember God is in everything I see, we start looking for it. And when we start seeing it, we realize God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. It's also put in my mind the ability to see it. It's inherent in everything, but I have to see it in order to experience it. I have to look for it. I have to look for the potential value in the situation. And then I have to look for the ultimate truth in that situation. It's that God is there right in the midst of it. And now that is an empowering thing to do. It's an empowering statement to say, I am as God created me. I am a spiritual being. I live in an unlimited universe with unlimited potential. Whatever seems to be happening in your life, whatever you see, you can respond with truth. I know it because it's the only way I find peace, is to respond with truth. And so you can do it. You can respond with truth, with positive energy and action, because the Christ in you can get up every morning and put a little love in your heart. You can get up every morning and say to yourself, the Christ in me is in charge of my life. The Christ in me is in charge of how I respond to everything that is happening in my life. So I just call upon you to do that this week and every week. And remember to be blessed and be a blessing to everyone. Now I have a prediction for the Super Bowl. I have a prediction that our team, the New England Patriots, will win the Super Bowl because I have a very similar philosophy to Bill Belichick, their coach. And that is no days off. Thank you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.